All right, so it seems that summarized written text is causing some problems for many of you. Some of you are successfully paraphrasing and getting the 9 out of 9. Some of you are not successful with the paraphrasing. Some of you think the copy and paste method and just directly adding some conjunctions are going to work. Let's see which one works. Let's do a couple of experiments. Let's get straight into summarized written text. See you in a minute. Hi everyone, it's Rina from Perth IELTS and PTE Tutoring. I'm a private tutor based in Perth, Western Australia, and I focus on PTE and IELTS, specifically PTE Academic, not PTE Core, because it's not really relevant to Australia. But today we're going to talk about summarized written text. Now, after August the 7th, they changed it and they placed a heavier emphasis on content, and then they introduced a human assessor. I don't know how true that is. I don't know if it's actually happening. Again, we can't guarantee all these things, but as usual, first there'll be a tutorial where I go through the question type itself. All right? It contributes up to a quarter of your final score for writing. And it is really important. It does also contribute a little bit to your reading, maybe less than 20%. But what's really important is 2 questions, 25% of your final score, and we need to get 9 out of 9. How are we going to do it? So this time we're going to have a tute as usual, and then we're going to have a couple of demonstrations. But these demonstrations are going to be experiments, okay? In some of them, I will attempt to read the whole text and traditionally summarize it. That means all in my own words, 100%. In another one, we will do the copy and paste method, but my method, not some dodgy copy and paste 3 sentences thing. We're not going to do that. We're going to do it my way. The third one is we're going to copy, paste, and paraphrase one single sentence, and we will see which one yields the highest score. Of course, I don't know which one works best for you guys. You have to tell me what works and what doesn't work for you. In general, I have found that quite a few students are not very successful with paraphrasing, but they are successful with independently writing a whole sentence on their own. The problem is shitty grammar. A lot of you have poor grammar. The vocabulary score goes down, the spelling score goes down. We can't have that happen. So let's see what works best, okay? Let's get straight to it. Okay, so let's get straight into the no BS basics. You've seen this slide before, but it has already been updated for summarized written text. For writing, it contributes up to a quarter of your final score. You have 2 questions. For reading, it contributes up to 20%. I'm thinking it's about 18, 19%. Not exact, not an exact science. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, but the nitty gritty. 2 questions, 10 minutes each. Fixed time question. Okay, the texts can be as long as 300 words. You are required to produce a summary in a single, complex sentence of up to 75 words. Okay, my sweet spot is a maximum of 70, so we're going from 65 to 70. That would be ideal. Anything more than 70, usually the grammar starts to suffer and it just starts to look a bit wonky. Okay, so try and keep it to 70, even though the maximum number is 75. Now, what skills do you need to ace a summarized written text question? Number one, you need to have the typing skills. Okay, you need a typing speed of at least 25 to 30 words because very often, and more than one student has come up and said, the copy and paste function doesn't work, or I can't do it, I can't seem to figure out the keys, I can only type. If that is the case, you need to have a minimum typing speed of 25 to 30 words per minute. You need basic English grammar and punctuation knowledge. Note the word basic. You don't have to have a degree in English literature. You don't need that. You need to read relatively quickly, okay? And you need to manage your time appropriately, 10 minutes per question, and you need to process 300 words, shrink it down to 70 or less. Okay? Let's get straight into how we can get this scored. Alrighty, tighty. Previously, I used to think this was a real BS question, which is why the slide says, how is this BS question marked? But now that they have placed more emphasis on content, I'm starting to have a little more respect for it. Okay? So, 9 points is the maximum you can get. And how do we get it? 4 points for content. Previously, content used to be just 2. Okay? 4 for content, 2 for vocabulary, 2 for grammar, and 1 for format. Format is a single complete sentence with a capital first letter and a full stop or period at the end. It has to be less than 75 words but more than 50. You must have it grammatically correct with appropriate punctuation. Content sufficiently covered and all words spelled correctly to get that 2 out of 2 for vocabulary. The problem is with the punctuation, very often we are randomly adding commas, we are randomly adding semicolons. This happens because, again, it's not marked by a human being who's trying to make sense of what you're writing, it is marked by artificial intelligence. So all those random commas seem to work for some bizarre reason. Whatever it is, we'll try to work around it. Okay, let's get straight down to the technique. Okay, this is the technique I will follow, but of course, for one of the demonstrations, it's not the technique I'm going to be following. I'm going to be paraphrasing the entire text, okay, with no copying and pasting. Okay, steps to a great outcome. First, you look at the text. How many paragraphs? How much is it? And notice if the bottom part says in conclusion, because ApeUni and all the other guides would say you should copy and paste from the conclusion part. I am strongly against it. Okay? You are going to visually assess the length of the text, locate the conclusion, and you are going to exclude the conclusion. Right? You're going to copy and paste. Previously, it used to be 3 to 4 full sentences. Now I want you to do 4 to 6 full sentences from equal intervals within the text. Okay? So let's say it's one giant paragraph, every second sentence, whatever. Highlight, copy, paste. Do what you need to do. Once you've copied and pasted these full sentences, that's when you start reading. You only read what you have copied and pasted. Okay? Next, you combine the sentences by eliminating the full stops and capital letters. You insert conjunctions. Now, this is where it gets even more complicated because some tutors will say, insert words like therefore, hence, moreover. No. You're going to keep the conjunctions as simple as possible. Okay? You're going to use things like and, of, which, but, that, along with, as. Very, very simple conjunctions. Okay? Comma and conjunction. Comma and conjunction. Okay? Remember, you are being marked by AI, most likely. They say a human, show me the human. I don't know where these humans are. I don't get it. Okay? So that's step 5. We have now made the whole sentence. This part is optional. You need to see if it works for you or not because I don't have enough statistics right now to prove that paraphrasing works. What I need you to do is to paraphrase a few chunks of words. Okay? I don't just want you to change a word and insert a synonym. For example, best, you put greatest. I don't want a single word paraphrasing. I want you to paraphrase entire phrases or chunks within a sentence. Okay? I need you to properly paraphrase. Okay? And finally, step 6, read it to yourself. Read the sentence back to yourself. If it sounds wrong, when I mean wrong, I mean grammatically wrong. Read it the way you would read it as a human being, with the comma and with the pause. So the comma makes a pause, and then you follow on with the conjunction. If it sounds wrong, it's probably wrong. Go back to step 3, okay? Step 7, you make adjustments, grammar, punctuation, and spelling. Step 8, you read it one final time and click submit. Please, please, please make sure that you stop your word count at 70, okay? That's my sweet point. I think 70 is perfect. Anywhere between 65 and 70 is fine. But let's get straight into demonstrations. Okay, let's try. Let's work it out. I'm going to work purely on ApeUni because I'm going to use the platform as an experimental platform. All right, see you in a minute. So of course, Microsoft Clipchamp decided to fail on me again. So I'm starting over, and all the practice ones that I did got deleted. Let's start all over again. With the experiment, I'm going to go with the first one, which is going to be a proper, full-blown summary sentence with my own words. And then the second one, I'm going to follow my own method, which is to copy and paste 4 to 6 sentences, make them into one, and then cut it and refine it down to 70 words. And then the third one, I'm going to paraphrase certain chunks. Okay, we'll see which one yields the highest results. Okay, see you. And see here, I'm on my ApeUni platform. I'm going to make the screen just a little bit bigger so we can all see the text when it pops up later. My internet is very, very dodgy. My Clipchamp is very, very dodgy. Summarise written text. Let's get straight to it. Of course, slow internet, slow computer, slow everything. Sorry. I'll put some elevator music in on this one. Okay. Let's do, some of them have been practiced 4 times. Wildlife conservation. Okay. So I don't know when this one came out. I need to zoom out a little bit because it's not fitting the whole screen. And there should be no scrolling. Okay.
Conservation.
Righto. So we've got our timer going, and in the first one, I am going to take the time to read the whole text and then summarize it myself. Okay? And let's see how we go. Summarize along with me and take the time to read it as well. I make this text just a bit smaller. Okay. That's climate change and habitat destruction. Okay, so no copying and pasting. I am going to immediately attempt to type in what I think should be a summary. Okay? Wildlife conservation. Leading to advanced monitoring systems with remote sensing, as well as the use of biodegrade. See, it's a lot more difficult when you are trying to summarize it yourself, but there is a solid chance that we will get a good score for this, though I think it'll be 0 for grammar. And conservation events which inspire collective action. As this all serves to protect endangered species and gives us hope for the preservation of our planet's biodiversity. All right, let's see how many words that is first. 55, which means we can live, we can coexist harmoniously and protect our fragile ecosystems. Okay, recently green technology has been included into wildlife conservation, leading to advanced monitoring systems with remote sensing, as well as the use of biodegradable materials, sustainable building practices, and conservation events, which inspire collective action, as this all serves to protect endangered species and gives us hope for the preservation of our planet's diversity, which means we can exist, blah, blah, blah. 66, let's see how we went. There, I might get 0 for vocabulary, might get 0 for grammar, might even get 0 for content. Because again, you are being marked by AI. What are the chances of you being marked by a human being? I don't actually know. Let's see how we went. Oh, this one was last done in June. All right. Okay, so let's see how we went with this one. Okay, so I got a 4.5. I had one spelling error, and the use of the was incorrect, which was fine. 2 out of 4 for content. Grammar 1.5 out of 2, and this is from somebody who does this for a living. There is no such thing as a text I cannot paraphrase, but this was a summary sentence, and clearly this method yields a 4.5 out of 9, which is just a 50% score, which means you're looking at a 45 or a 50. See you with the next experiment. And we stopped at 467 wildlife conservation. I have done it twice, and Clipchamp has failed twice, but I would like to show you what happened in mine. Here we are. You can see here that I have done it 4 times, once in June, once this morning with you guys, where I got a 4.5 out of 9, and I fully summarized it by myself without copying and pasting. Then another 2 times I did it copying and pasting, no paraphrasing. Okay? And it was both 8.5 out of 9. Unfortunately, because my Clipchamp is so unreliable, we're going to go straight to the next method, which is going to be copying, pasting, paraphrasing. We're going to do all 3. Let's see if we get an 8.5 out of 9 again. Okay? Let's do this. Copy and paste. So you can follow whichever tutor you like, really. I just want you to get the highest score possible. We've seen that without paraphrasing, I can get an 8.5 out of 9. But again, I didn't get to show you how I went all the way, all the way from 109 just now, 109 words, down to 70. All right, I didn't get anything from this paragraph. I'm going to. Okay. Okay, so 109 words. Righto? This is exactly how I did it the last time, but this time I'm going to paraphrase quite a little bit more. Oh, actually, I'm just going to paraphrase. So I'm going to paraphrase an entire sentence. Additionally, green, what's it called? The protection of endangered endangered animals is helped by such technology, such inventions. Okay, so fully paraphrased, one whole sentence. Now we're going to combine these sentences into one. Again, it was 109 just now, we're down to 110. Less than 4 minutes have passed. Let's go. Always correct grammar as you go along. Remove adjectives, so things that just describe, like promising, great. Just get rid of them. So is helped by such inventions, which mean environmental consciousness, which means with environmental consciousness, we can strive for more harmonious coexistence and protect our fragile. Okay, in recent years, recently, so change our development to introduction, and I'm going to leave it at 75. Let's see how we go. So I have copied and pasted. I have exceeded the 70 words. My usual limit is 70, but the maximum is 75. And I have paraphrased quite heavily. Let's see what kind of score we get. This kind of tells us what to do on test day. When you look at it, perhaps you could paraphrase certain chunks. I paraphrased well over one whole sentence. Let's see how we went. Fingers crossed. I would like a 9, but who knows? Who knows? Oh, we got a 9. We got a 9. Okay, so friends, now we know. Copy and paste an excessive amount, so well over 75. My limit is 120. Cut it down, but before you do, paraphrase a whole chunk or a whole sentence, and then chop and change, drop it down to 70. I prefer 70. I'll see what I can do next time, okay? See you in a minute. Really happy with this score, 9 out of 9. Emotional right now, so we're going to do another one where we copy, paste, no paraphrase, okay? So as far as I see, the copy, paste, no paraphrase gets you an 8.5 out of 9. Copying, pasting with quite extensive paraphrasing gets you a 9 out of 9. Let's see how we do with copying, pasting, no paraphrasing, because I need to show you how to do it. Okay, redo the exact same one over and over again. As usual, I like 4 to 6 sentences. Okay. And I do not like to use the 3 sentences and then stop and then copy. And so if it does not work, okay, I can tell you now, because of the content scores, that stuff just doesn't work. Right. If there are 6 paragraphs, at least one sentence from each paragraph, and it's your job to cut it down. That is your job. Stop acting like, oh, it's just going to happen naturally. Well, I'm just going to, and if so, but, and think it's going to be okay. It's not going to be okay, my friend. it's not going to be okay. All right, so furthermore, shush. And last sentence. Usually I do not copy and paste conclusion sentences, but there has some words in it. All right, 109 once again. Let's see how we go. No paraphrasing. We're only going to copy, paste, and cut. Okay? And along with emerging green products. And conservation events have gained prominence. So green technological protection of endangered species and which means that by harnessing the air we can protect. So let's stop at protect, see how we went with that. Okay, 69 words. In recent years, green technology and wildlife conservation has yielded results. No paraphrasing, not much, no full stops. Let's go. See how we went, okay? I'm hoping for another 8.5. We'll see how we went. Obviously, now, based on this current experiment, I have done the copy paste no paraphrase method 3 times. I have done the copy paste plus paraphrase once and got a 9. Let's see how we get what we get with this one. But the lowest score is when you paraphrase it by yourself, when you fully summarize. Once again, with no paraphrasing, 8.5. With paraphrasing, 9 out of 9. That's what it looks like on ApeUni. I am also going to practice this again on a mock test, on a Pearson mock test. So I will show you the original methods and what score I got, which was back in July and back in August. And then I'm going to do a test. So hopefully this video goes up within the next couple of days. All right, see you in a minute. Ape Uni. So let's do a let's see my results from the most recent mock test where I did both the paraphrasing and copy paste method. All right, hold on. What's going on here? Okay, so let's check the results. So I've done this on the, as you can see here, submitted on the 27th of November, which was just a few days ago. Let's check the result together. Okay, so as you can see for writing 90 out of 90. Okay, no dramas there. Let me zoom in a little bit for those of you who can't see in the back. Okay, so 90 out of 90 for writing, and obviously I'm pretty sure the method works. But, okay, so let's close this for a second and let me talk to you one-on-one. So what I'm going to share with you now are 2 Pearson Practice Test results. The first one was done sometime in July or in August when they announced the changes. And the second one was done either yesterday or the day before. What did I do differently? For the first variant, so variant 1, for the first exam, I did it as usual, but did not change any of the writing methods. Okay? So I did the usual copy paste, make it into one sentence, easy peasy lemon squeezy, and moved on. But I did write a really good essay. You're going to see the marks for that. For the second test, what I did was I behaved exactly like how my students normally behave. Okay? So I did the speaking as usual, I did the listening as usual, but I did two different things for the reading and for the writing. For the reading, I skipped reorder paragraph and I skipped these multiple choice single answers. I just skipped them. Let's see how I went. And for the writing, what did I do? For writing, I intentionally allowed for spelling mistakes in both question types, okay? But not in listening, of course. For both question types, I allowed spelling mistakes and I did not proofread so that there would be grammar mistakes and typos. Okay, so let's see. If you see that the test results from the first one for the writing scores, okay, don't pay attention to the writing scores, has increased marginally, then we know that the method works because we need to assume on test day you are going to make spelling mistakes. You are going to have typos. You are going to miss words. You are going to forget words. Your essay is not going to be perfect. So I try to reproduce exactly what you would do in a test situation. Of course, my grammar and language command is generally pretty good. Let's see the results together, okay? So I'll first show you what I did back in August or July, and then I'll show you the results from last night. See you in a second. My Pearson landing page, the dashboard, and let's look at my purchases. Okay, so as you can see, PT Academic version 1 was done and PT Academic version 2 was done. Let's view results. Of course, my full name is on it, so I'm going to blur that out. Okay, so there we go. That's my full name up on the top. It was done on the 18th of August 2025, of course. Overall score is 90, but look at the writing score. Okay, this is what happens when you write a relatively good essay, but your summarized written text is a bit shit because you did not paraphrase and you just did the whole copy and paste 3, 4 sentences and Bob's your uncle, see how we go. Okay, so writing 79, so it doesn't make sense why the other three are 90, but the writing was 79. What's excuse me. What's even more interesting is the next test. Okay, so this was done on the 18th of August. Let's look at the other one. All right, let's go back. Let's go back. And let's look at version 2. Okay, so overall score 90 again, which is understandable. Listening 90 and speaking 90. As I explained earlier, I did two different things for reading. I intentionally skipped reorder paragraph, okay? And I intentionally skipped all multiple choice single answers. Okay, very interesting. Reading score comes up to 87. And for writing, I made intentional spelling mistakes and I allowed for grammatical errors by not proofreading. Okay, what I did do, however, was summarize written text through paraphrasing. So copied and pasted 5 to 6, hit well over 75 words, cut it down and paraphrased. Okay, and for the essay, of course, I wrote a full essay. Now you can see the scores here are obviously, well, I don't like not seeing 90, 90, 90, 90, but it is what it is. If you are expecting to get well over 80 and you know that you're going to make grammar and spelling mistakes on test day, you just can't avoid it. I believe my method works. Of course, it's totally up to you to try it out if you think it's going to work for you. All right, see you in a second. All right, folks, so there you have it. We've done summarized written text. We have trialed every single method that there is. Okay? The one method that does not work, do not do this, is writing a fully paraphrased sentence by yourself. It does not seem to yield high results. And I strongly believe the most effective method is to copy and paste well over 75 words, paraphrase a little bit, and cut it down to 70 to 75 words. I think that seems to work. I've shown you on ApeUni, on multiple trials on ApeUni, and I've also shown you a ApeUni mock test result, and I've done 2 Pearson practice tests, of which I have altered them to behave in the same way my students would behave. I assume on test day that that's how they would do things, and you can see the results aren't ideal. Okay? So thank you so much for today. I hope you find these methods helpful. Let me know in the comment section below if you did find it helpful, if you think my methods don't work. For other tutors out there, if you are using a different method, do let me know. I would love to learn from you as well, because The copy and paste 5 to 6 sentences with paraphrasing and then cutting down to 75 seems to be yielding the best results at this stage. Thank you so much for being here today, and I hope to post something up next week. PIAPT is kind of wrapping up for the year. The last day of work for me is the December the 18th, so I'm pretty excited about that. And Christmas is coming. I've put up my Christmas tree. All right. See you all soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.